The following program is paid for by the Property Rights Alliance. The views and opinions expressed in this advertisement are those of the Property Rights Alliance and do not reflect the views of this station, our parent company, DuBois County Broadcasting Incorporated, or its affiliates.
Keeping you informed. This is In.form on WBDC and 18 WJTS.
Hello and welcome to In.form here on 101 Country, WBDC and 18 WJTS. I'm Kaitlyn Neukam, and today we are talking with the Property Rights Alliance, more specifically Miss Teresa Kendall, the Vice President of the Property Rights Alliance. It's good to have you in the studio, Teresa, and we're very excited to kind of dive deep into what your organization has been up to in the past few months.
Well, I'm very happy to be here, and I appreciate this opportunity for us to explain exactly what the Property Rights Alliance is and what we're doing.
Right. And so we'll just go ahead and dive deep into the deep end per se. Again, you guys were in here a few months ago to give us the rundown of what all you guys have been doing. But for those who weren't listening that first broadcast or maybe watching, what is the Property Rights Alliance and what have you guys been doing in the local community and a little bit beyond, honestly?
Well, the Property Rights Alliance, I have to get my mouth working today. It's an organization or a group that was formed of homeowners, farmers, business people, and just residents of DuBois and Martin County that are opposed to the Mid-States Corridor, the new terrain highway that is to be built through DuBois County and Martin County to connect Interstate 64 at the DuBois County border up to 69, up in, touches barely into Greene County. So we formed a group to basically push back against what we feel is a very strong government overreach, something that, a road that was decided without any public input, without anybody being able to make comments or put in any of their views or opinions on what it would do to them, or even ask a question as to why we need it. So we decided to form together because their power of many is better than the power of one. And by joining all of the people who are affected and people who are just against this type of a road that's being pushed on us without any voter input, we've all banded together. We've used our own financial resources to hire an attorney to help us navigate this and help us protect our property. It's everyone's right to protect their own property.
Right. And before we go further, I want to also highlight that the Property Rights Alliance is a non-for-profit. They have non-for-profit status. Is that right?
That's correct. We are non-for-profit. That does not mean that people who donate to us can deduct that. It's not a tax-deductible thing. But anybody that wants to donate to us and help us protect people's property and eventually, anyone's property in DuBois County and Martin County, we're more than happy to take donations. You can always mail those to us at Property Rights Alliance, P.O. Box 64 in Jasper.
Good deal. And with that as well, we want to bring up kind of your current events. We've got a very big event to talk about a little bit later that's coming up tomorrow at the Klubhaus 61 in Jasper. But here recently, property owners have been in the news and been amongst talk here in the local area due to a kind of public lawsuit and whatnot. So, Teresa, without getting into too much detail that I may not fully understand, can you tell us a little bit about what that process has been like for local property owners?
Well, about a month ago, maybe a little bit more, our attorney that we retained, Mr. Russell Sipes of Indianapolis, he gave us a letter to send to INDOT through the Lockmuller Group, which was called a cease and desist, because Lockmuller, or I should take that back, INDOT hired surveyors to go onto properties and start surveying. They didn't give the property owners any notice. They didn't ask permission to come onto the land. And nobody really knew who these people were or what they were doing. So a lot of farmers, they noticed it first. And when we met, they said, hey, what are we going to do about this? Our attorney came up with this cease and desist letter. And so our attorney encouraged anyone who was going to be affected by having surveyors come onto their land to send the cease and desist letter to Lockmuller, to INDOT through the Lockmuller Group, who is managing the Mid-States Corridor project. So because of that letter, the INDOT had to stop with the surveying, although in some cases they didn't. They were still doing it. Maybe they just didn't get the information. But eventually they ceased all surveying. And we knew that eventually that they would seek legal relief and get a court order to allow these surveyors to come onto our land. We knew that would happen. But the point of it is that we have rights and we have legal relief that we could seek also, and that was to demand that they get a court order to come onto the land, which is our right to do. So part of the purpose of the Property Rights Alliance is for all of us to pool our resources, financial resources together, and we protect each other. We are a very strong force. We have a large organization, several hundred people now, and every time we have a meeting, like the one that we have coming up tomorrow on April 3rd.
Yes,
April
I think
3rd.
that's right. It's crazy,
I know,
crazy
it's
how
lost
time
track.
moves. But yes, Thursday, April 3rd.
Thursday, April 3rd at the Klubhaus 61 in Jasper. Every time we have a meeting, we always gain 10, 20 people every time. And it's not, like I said, it's not always people that are going to be affected. It's people like me that just sees this as a wrong. And the only thing I feel like I can do is contribute my funds to help the legal services of all the people that are going to have their land taken. So that's an important part of this, is that we work as a group. I know everyone's always seen the phrase, or may have seen the sign that, the power of people is stronger than the people in power. And that's basically what our government is based on. It's based on the power that people have to govern ourselves. And when people who are in government, who are our elected representatives, when they forget that we are the ones that put them there, sometimes we have to take actions to let them know that, we are the ones that have the power to regulate our government and to participate in government. And that's all that we are doing with this lawsuit. We are asking them to get a court order to come onto land, and which is what they're seeking now. But we will continue to do this, with all landowners. We're going to say cease and desist unless you get a court order to come onto our land. So back to the point of why we band together to do this, it does no good for one property owner who is well off and can donate, can hire their own attorney. It does not do any good for that person if the person next to them can't. And so what we do is, we all work together, we lift each other up, and we make sure that everybody is protected. And that's why we call this an alliance. This is a group of people. We're allied in our belief that people in the United States have a right to protect their property.
Right.
And that's how we got started.
Right. And with that, I think it's a next crucial step to talk about your attorney, because this is someone you guys had brought to the group to represent a lot of people here in the local area. So will you tell us a little bit about the attorney representing the Property Rights Alliance?
Well, our attorney is Russell Sipes. He is from Indianapolis. He's originally from Shelbyville. He is a great guy. His wife is Trish Whitcomb, the daughter of the former governor. Russ and my husband, Mike Kendall, some people who've been around in Jasper, DuBois County for a while might remember him. He was a lawyer and a state senator many, many decades ago. But Russ and he were partners in Indianapolis in a law firm. And the two of them worked on many similar projects. One was a project in Terre Haute, probably about 20 years ago, where some type of waste plant was going to be built, some type of place to incinerate, I think, toxic waste and some other things that weren't, really great. And this was going to be built right on the banks of the Wabash River, and surrounding this entire area were close to like 500 to 600 homes that were fairly new, but it was a very residential area, and this plant was going to be spewing toxic waste up in the air. And so the homeowners gathered together, and they contacted my husband at the time. This was back in the early 2000s, and at the time Russ was working with him then, and they basically mounted this same strategy, and they were able to prevail, and the plant was no longer built, and they went away, and I think they moved over to another state. I'm not sure where they went, but it did not get built near this residential area in Terre Haute. So Russ has experience with this type of tactic. And I know that he's been involved with the Indiana Forest Alliance. He's their attorney. And I believe he's also has a position in the leadership of that organization. I can't remember which one it is. But anyway, he has a lot of experience with this. He's protected a lot of forest, national forest land, private forest land. He's done a great deal of work with the Indiana Forest Alliance. And he's just an environmentalist at heart. And he strongly believes that protecting the rights of the individuals against government that is overreaching their boundary, that's another thing that he likes to fight.
Right.
So he's working with us, and he's going to be at this meeting tomorrow to explain that, we can do this when we work together. Mm-hmm. And we're going to have, like right now, we have probably over 160 people in our organization. I'm sure we'll pick up far many more when we have our next meeting. And people keep joining us all the time. And the point here is to get as many people as we can, for all of us basically to lock arms and work together. And Russ is the great guy to lead us through that. He's been through this before. He's been through these types of situations, and every time he's been involved, he's prevailed.
Right. And, with that, we're going to talk about the big event because it is coming up tomorrow. Again, we've got some scary weather on the horizon for us tonight, but tomorrow's a new day, and that brings a new chance to, learn something a bit different and have an open mind. So with that, the next meeting of the Property Rights Alliance is happening Thursday, April 3rd at 6 p.m. Eastern at the Klubhaus 61 in Jasper. What can you tell us about what people can expect there? Is this a event kind of like an open house event where anyone can walk in? Maybe someone's interested, but maybe they don't want to stay the whole time. Maybe they're kind of scared to be seen in a group like this. What is the intention, or who are you trying to get at this event is, I guess, my first question.
Well, first of all, everyone is welcome. Anybody who has an interest in this, whether it is just because they see something happening to Du Bois County, whether your property is going to be affected, anybody can come to this meeting, but we encourage anybody who is close to the proposed route, in the proposed route. You've got to remember, a road is not just going to affect the people where it lies, it's going to affect everybody all the way around it. So it's important that anybody that is concerned about how this is going to happen or not happen in Du Bois and Martin County, this is the time to show up, and this is the time to listen to the people that we're going to have speak. Jason McCoy, who is the president of our organization, he has a lot of input on this because he will lose nearly all of his land. I'm the vice chairperson. And again, I'm very interested in this because I have seen what's happened with 69. When I lived in Terre Haute back in the 70s, spent a lot of time in Lagodi with friends, in the 80s, and I know how these roads affect people and what happens to them. We have a great array of people. We have farmers, we have business people, and we have an awful lot of people that just don't want to see this happen. But one of the things we really want to bring up, a point that's very serious, is we have a lot of farmers that are there. Of course, this would be no different than, some factory was going to get torn down by this road. I'm sure those business owners would show up also.
Right.
So farmers own their own business, and this road is going to take away their factory, so to speak. But we're starting to see more just regular homeowners. There are so many people, like if you go up the Celestine Du Bois Road, there is so many people up there that are going to be affected. And some are farmers and some are people that just like to live out in the country. And they purchased those homes decades ago or just a little while ago. Whenever they purchased those homes or built their home, I'm sure they had no idea that our leaders in our city, state, and county government would plan to have a 4-lane highway come right up next to their homes or right through it. So anybody that feels like they have any skin in the game, and literally it's everybody in Du Bois County, we all have skin in the game because this is going to affect us. You need to come to this meeting and listen to what we have to say about what's happening, where we are right now. And also our lawyer is going to talk about what he's doing on the legal side of this to help us keep these people at arm's length. And basically, we're trying to eat up all their time that we possibly can, because there are some other issues coming up with what's happening in our state government, not politically, it's just what's happening physically in the state legislature. So if I can, move on to that or kind of get into that part. The state of Indiana has had some budgeting issues they're trying to work out, and that happens in every budget session. It's always in the odd year, which is what we're in now. So they're trying hard to work out how to cover Medicaid costs and education costs. And lo and behold, there's an organization that I believe is funded and operates out of Purdue University, and they give a report like they do, and this is a good agency. They do a lot of work to see where we are with roads and what we have to do and what condition the roads are in and what they need to fix. So they came up with a report, I think about a year ago, saying that we were going to need at least $2 billion to keep up our roads, repair, and fix what we have. $2 billion. Mm-hmm. INDOT used all of their money last session, or, the last session that they were given a budget to work with. And that's good. I mean, they should use all the money. But now the state is dealing with different kinds of monetary issues involving funding schools, and there's other asks that are coming in from the governor and other people, which are funding other things that haven't been funded before. So now that's putting more pressure on the state legislature to fund Medicaid, which is, when people think it's like people that don't have insurance, Medicaid funds hospitals. That is the most important thing they do. The majority of the money goes there. It also funds health care for individuals. And a lot of those are individuals who are handicapped, can't work, and they don't have the ability to get insurance. So I think that's something a lot of people, when you think about that, we don't want people to suffer or not have good health care because we all end up paying more for it. But right now, the state is challenged by those things. And they're challenged by those every year, but there's just a little bit more higher stakes on the things this year. So we don't know if INDOT win or if they're going to fund this. But the point of it right now is to push back against INDOT and against their group that's working for them, Lockmuller, to make sure that they don't get very far or get to the point where they say, well, hey, we've done this so much, we're just going to go ahead and do it. We do not want that to happen. Another thing that we've done with INDOT is we ask them to show us the information they had when they studied the routes. Mm-hmm. And they will claim that the route that all of us preferred, and all of us in our group, and I heard many candidates bring up the same thing. Work with the road you've got. Make a road on that same footprint. And here's my argument, not necessarily an argument, justification for that idea. I am originally from the central Indiana area. My husband and I lived in Indianapolis for many years. And then when he retired his law office, we moved here to Jasper. It's wonderful place, great place to live, and I'm really glad we moved here. And I was heartbroken when I heard about this road.
Right.
And so I always brought up the example of in Marion County and Hamilton County, which is north of Indianapolis. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with it. It's where the town of Carmel and Zionsville and Noblesville and Westfield are. So it's a very, very prominent and wealthy community. The whole county is like one community. There are two major roads in that county, US 31 and State Road 37, and they are main arteries that bring cars into the Indianapolis metro area. INDOT has made great pains to improve those roads and keep them on the same footprint. Same footprint. Nothing has changed.
Right.
They have built some exit ramps and things like that, but basically it is in the same footprint. It has not harmed large areas of homes. It has not taken out any farms. And I believe that NDOT could have done the same thing in DuBois County and Martin County. Of course, they'll say, how in the world are you going to put a road through the middle of Jasper? There are many ways it can be done. Lots of communities have truck routes that go around towns, and you're talking about a minimal disruption of property. There just weren't enough alternatives looked into to stay on the actual footprint. I don't think anybody in the Property Rights Alliance would disagree with the fact that 231 needs to be improved and needs to be upgraded. And that could have been done years ago, and we wouldn't be in this place.
Right.
But it was never a priority. And again, my theory, my own personal theory, is sometimes I think Southern Indiana doesn't get the attention it needs from state legislators. And I'm not saying the ones that are elected, I'm saying the whole body. Because when it comes down to it, we're a sparsely populated area in comparison to central Indiana, in comparison to far northern Indiana. And sometimes I think we get pushed down the road because we don't have that many people. But when it comes down to it, I think the best thing about southern Indiana, which is one thing that I had found out, to be quite honest, when I met my husband, I had never heard of the town of Jasper. And I think maybe I was at the very first Strassenfest back in the 70s, but I knew I'd never been to Jasper. And when I got here, it was like, my gosh, how did I not know this was here? How did I not know that Southwest Indiana was just awesome beyond belief?
Right.
And the whole idea that we have to put a road through this just doesn't make sense to me.
Right. And Teresa, I'd love to ask you, as we kind of wrap up here today, unfortunately, if you want to conversate with Teresa more, I would strongly encourage going to this Thursday, April 3rd at 6 p.m. event for the Property Rights Alliance at Klubhaus 61 in Jasper. But before we wrap up, can you answer it's probably very complicated, but I have a lot of people that I see, or they're just curious, they ask themselves, or they ask a lot of people, is this going to stop this progress? Is there a way to work around this, or is this going to work, I guess is another way to have this opposition and give NDOT a little bit of competition? Is this something that they should believe in?
I believe strongly that the power of people are stronger than the people in power. And I believe that NDOT and the Lockmuller Group was not prepared for this pushback. We are trying to meet them with the same force that they're using against us. And we do have tools. We have the same tools in our toolbox that have the same power. They have the power possibly of NDOT behind them, but we also know that NDOT is lacking funding right now, specifically for a big, expensive new terrain highway.
Right.
I believe that time is on our side. I also believe that, again, the power of all of us is an advantage that the NDOT does not have. They do not have the support that we have. They do not have people that donate to us that have absolutely nothing to do with the road, that aren't going to be affected at all. There are many people like me that we're not going to lose our houses. We're not going to lose anything except, we're going to have our rights chipped away, just one more little chip, and we don't believe that that's possible.
Right.
But as far as, is this going to not work? I think we're very effective, and I think we're going to have a huge impact. I feel strongly that this road won't get built. Number one, NDOT doesn't have a lot of money right now to appropriate to this. They have money, but not for this. I strongly believe that when it comes down to it, there are many elected officials in the county, in the state, that are going to speak up and say, hey, let's just fix 231. We don't want to do this to our people. And the other thing, too, is that this fight has been going on forever. It happened with 69. People in Terre Haute just freaked out about it in the 70s, and it got pushed over, and it got pushed over, and it got pushed over. And granted, it did happen. But I truly believe that this won't happen.
Fair enough. And again, I would kind of contest to say that you might also consider it is not too late. And that's what you guys are trying to do with these upcoming meetings and, again, just bringing the alliance together. But Teresa, unfortunately, we have to let you go, which we always appreciate your time and your vast knowledge and whatnot. And I will remind everyone that, again, the next meeting of the Property Rights Alliance is happening tomorrow, Thursday, April 3rd at 6 p.m. Eastern at the Klubhaus 61 in Jasper. That's 2031 Newton Street in Jasper. Again, starting at 6 p.m. Just come check it out. It's free to attend, see what it's all about, and maybe get some questions answered, because you never know who you're going to see there. But Teresa, we appreciate your time and appreciate the Property Rights Alliance coming to discuss with us today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all that this opportunity.
Thank you so much, of course. And one more plug here. If you want more information, of course, go to tomorrow's meeting. But also, you can visit Stop the Mid-States Corridor Project on Facebook or email stopthemidstatescorridor@gmail.com for more information.
One more thing. We have a website.
Yes.
praindiana.org.
Good deal. So praindiana.org in case you want more information there as well. So again, with the Property Rights Alliance, the preceding program is paid for by the Property Rights Alliance. The views and opinions expressed in this advertisement are those of the Property Rights Alliance and do not reflect the views of this station, our parent company, DuBois County Broadcasting Incorporated, or its affiliates. And this has been your In.form program here on 101 Country WBDC and 18 WJTS.
This has been In.form on WBDC and 18 WJTS. Catch past episodes on our social media pages and our websites. If it matters to you, it matters to us. In.form.